Okay. Let's see. What's going on, guys? I'm back. Welcome to another video. Today, I want to talk about photography essentials. Not necessarily things you absolutely need, but things you should definitely consider getting at some point. All the things that I'm going to share today are things that every photographer should have in their equipment catalog, if you will. You know, it's not necessarily things you need on a day-to-day basis, but things that you can definitely put to use depending on the kinds of things that you're shooting. So let's get right into it. First thing I'd say you need is a good tripod, a travel tripod at that. Something kind of like this here, if you can even get a full sense of this. This is just a Joby tripod with a little Joby ball head on it. It's nothing fancy. It's got these little latches up top that will allow you to open it, open it and lock it at a certain point, or even go further out and flip it upside down to fold it into a smaller kind of travel size tripod. And I've used this thing a bunch. I've taken it on trips, I've traveled with it, and it's pretty legit, and it's lightweight, so that's a huge pro. Similarly to this, a lot of you are probably familiar with the Joby Gorilla Pod. You know, you can finagle it and angle it and wrap it around stuff and all that good stuff. And I feel as though this kind of gets a bad rap at times because it's like the YouTuber's tripod, but it is really useful and it does come in clutch when you need something quick, just a quick solution to stabilize or just hold a camera. So for a long time I kind of like avoided using tripods, but I've really tried to incorporate them into my workflow lately, and I've really been enjoying how it's been kind of aiding me in getting certain shots. I feel like maybe when you use a tripod, your workflow tends to slow down, but you're taking less shots because the shots you are taking are a little bit more maybe meticulous in nature. You're paying more attention to detail and trying to frame the shot properly rather than just kind of getting these skewed off-center handheld shots at times. So, definitely try it out. It's better to have it and not need it. Tripods are always going to come in handy at some point or another. So, look into something like that. You can get them for, I don't know, $100 or so. They're not too expensive. So that's probably the first thing on my photography essentials list. Second thing would be filters. I've got a bunch of filters over here. Different size filters, different type of filters. I got neutral density filters, variable neutral density filters, polarizing filters, black pro mist filters, all kinds of stuff. This here is the Peter McKinnon variable neutral density VND. It's a PM VND. They actually sell these with pro mist already embedded, I guess, or coded into the lens. I'm not sure, but these are not that. These are just straight up variable neutral density. These are more for video stuff, but I do use them a lot for photography as opposed to using the standard neutral density because there's just more wiggle room. There's just more wiggle room with VND. Alongside that, step up rings. A lot of these filters in this pouch over here don't necessarily fit on all of my lenses because they're different sizes. They're varying sizes at that for certain lenses that I thought I would use them with. When in reality, what I should have done is got everything this size, which is 82 millimeters, if I'm not mistaken. It's the biggest lens filter thread size that I have. Yeah, something like that. But rather than getting a bunch of different size filters, I got the biggest ones that I needed, and then step up rings for the smaller lenses. So you can just attach this to a smaller lens and then attach this to the outside of it, and boom, you need one filter and a bunch of little step up rings. And these are cheap. You can get a whole kit of these for like $20. That'll go on pretty much any lens. So that's number two and 2.5, I suppose. Moving on. Number 3, a light source, something to jump straight into flash photography, whether it's a strobe whether it's an on-camera flash, whether it's an LED panel, something. You need something to kind of skew away from standard natural light photography and delve into the world of flash photography. Not that there's anything wrong with natural light photography. I love natural light photography, but they're two completely different things, and if you're gonna be a photographer, you should be well versed in all aspects of photography, and who knows, you might like it more than natural light photography. So this right here, for reference, is a Godox V1C. Along with a light, I'd also recommend getting yourself a wireless trigger. This is the Flashpoint trigger, but it's essentially the same thing as Godox, just different branding, but they are compatible with all Godox lights and products. But you know, get a Canon, get a Sony, get a what's that popular one, Yongnuo. Those are really good and really affordable. I've never had one, but I heard they're really good and super affordable. But the Godox are pretty cheap too. Best bang for your buck, I'd say. So definitely consider getting yourself one of those. Moving on my list of essentials you need for photography, a good prime lens. I've got a handful over here to show you guys. Here I've got a 50 millimeter, a 100 millimeter, and a 135 millimeter. Now over there on the camera, I'm actually shooting on a 24 millimeter 1.4. So I've got a couple of prime lenses, and this isn't a flex. This is a point I'm trying to make. When you first get into photography, there's a good chance you're gonna find yourself with a kit lens, 18-55. Soon after that, you're probably gonna wanna upgrade or get a new lens. And much like myself, I would assume a lot of people have the same thought process where they're like, why would I get a prime lens that covers one focal length when I can just get a zoom lens that covers a wide range of focal lengths? Doesn't make any sense. That being said, it's not necessarily a case of them being better or worse or faster or sharper or any of that stuff. It really comes down to it just being different. They all have a purpose. They all serve a purpose in your workflow. They all have a different use case. And maybe you could find yourself utilizing a prime lens much more than a zoom lens if given the opportunity. So I have here the 50 millimeter 1.2, which granted is a very heavy and expensive lens, but there are certainly much cheaper options within the 50 millimeter range. You can get yourself a Canon 50 millimeter 1.8, commonly known as the Nifty 50, for $100, maybe even less if you get it used, and the quality is unmatched for the price. It's probably the number one lens that photographers tend to get their hands on in the beginning because it's so good and just so darn cheap. But yeah, let's just keep this pushing. The last thing on the list, a reflector. I've got a bunch of reflectors here in the studio, all in varying sizes and shapes, and it literally is exactly what it sounds like. It reflects light. You can get them with a silver front, a white front, a gold kind of pattern to it, and different kind of hues to reflect different color light. And you can use this in natural light, you can use them with studio light, with strobes, with flashes, with all that kind of stuff. And this will definitely, if nothing else, take your photography to the next level for the lowest investment. You can get one for, I don't know, $20. Hold it yourself, put it on a light stand, have an assistant help you out, and yeah, definitely get your hands on one of those guys. In hopes of keeping these all short, sweet, simple, and to the point. I feel like there's too many adjectives there. I'm just gonna leave it right there. If you guys have any comments, questions, or requests for tutorials, feel free to drop a comment down below. Hit that like button, guys, and consider subscribing. Bye. Oh, also, I got a pop filter coming in the mail in case all these plosives are bothering any of you guys, because they're definitely kind of annoying me, but whatever. Peace.